Good evening, Fernwood. It's your TV pal Neil, and it's time for some more late night variety madness with another episode of Fernwood Tonight. If you are just seeing my face for the first time, this is a reaction show where we watch the show together and then we talk about it because I've got nothing better to do. And if that sounds like it's your bag, then please stick around. Also, if you're a viewer who feels like you have the means to help support the channel and help us grow, then please check out Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes, monthly updates, and uncut episodes soon. Everyone, we are watching episode 53 from September 14th, 1977. I believe that's the correct date, so I'm going to stick with it. Let's see what happened yesterday. Barth Gimble invited the audience on a bus trip to anywhere with the Fernwood Tonight crew, provided that they send in their votes with $50 payments per vote. Then Happy Kind joins the couch to announce the release of his new album, Music in the Key of Mirth. Sadly, despite the amount of vinyl they were able to excavate from their homes, they aren't able to press a record, but they have included some coupons. We get a visit from Congressman William Chambers, who is worried about all of the water-bearing nations organizing into a group called WOPEC. And we end with star-crossed lovers Ed and Lucy Campbell, who got married after Ed ran her over with his tow truck. Since the collision led to a lot of insurance money, she has had accident after accident after accident. And that's where our episode ended yesterday. Let's hope that today is somewhat less tragicomic.
Tonight from Fernwood, Fernwood Tonight, 30 minutes of very remarkable entertainment, coming to you almost live, with your host for tonight, Mr. Barth Gimble. Tonight, Barth's guest will be the return of baby Irene, who will sing her pampers off, Ms. Linda Berry, who wants to see us all nude, George Ellsworth to tell us why minor injuries are good for children, and Happy Kind and the Mirth Makers. And me, I'm Jerry Hubbard. And now here's your host and mine, Mr. Barth Gimble.
Thank you. Thank you, good evening, and welcome again to Fernwood Tonight. I am Barth Gimble. We won't go into that. You know what that causes. Oh, there it is. So many fascinating things have happened to me since the show began that I'm actually, in a way, thinking of writing a book about the experience. Something like The Making of Fernwood Tonight or The Fernwood Tonight Log. I think it would make great reading, and around Christmas time, great burning. Imagine you and your family gathered around a blazing Fernwood Tonight log. Not just a joke. Anyway, perhaps the nicest thing that's happened to me since I've become, I guess the word is star. Although some people get embarrassed about saying the word star. I think when you're a man and you put on your makeup every night, you're one of two things, and a star is the one that I am. So clear that up. But the nicest thing that happened to me really is that you people have sent me such wonderful gifts. I showed some of them a few weeks ago, and it took the rest of you a while to get the hint, I think. So we've finally gotten enough here that I can show you some more. I want to show you some things here. This is a drawing here. Isn't this something? Mrs. Buell's third grade class down at M Street Elementary School. They voted on who they wanted to draw as a class project. And the top two vote getters, of course, were Fonzie and Farrah Fawcett. But they had too much hair. It was a little rough for them to do. So old number 3 here got the crayon treatment. Isn't that beautiful? Just proves... I'd have it framed if it wasn't so darn expensive. I'm glad I didn't grow my hair the way they did. I think that's going to pay off someday. Too bad, Fonz. Too bad, Farrah. Thank you, kids. Put this in a very special place later. Now, also, here's something nice. Mrs. Lucille Gibson up in Fernwood Heights wrote me that she loved the show, but she was disturbed because I never seemed to wear any neckties. So she knitted this one especially for me. What do you think here? Could also be a fly swatter warmer, I think. She's right on 2 counts, though. I don't wear ties, and she is disturbed. No. Terrible job. No, actually, I don't mean to put the lady down. She obviously put a lot of time and energy and yarn into this thing, and I'm going to try to find something to wear it with. Maybe under a raincoat would look good. Anyway, thank you, Lucille, and who knows, I might even name my guitar after you. Now, finally, from one of those fans who's just too busy to sign their name, something that you don't see too often, they sent me a list of 20 people in America who run the electronic machines that control all of our thoughts. I can't show that to you. It's a part of the deal. But they sent a carbon copy. Anyway, I guess the original's been destroyed for safekeeping. Anyway, thank you, and the next time I get depressed, I'll know who to blame. I want to thank all of you, in fact, for wonderful gifts. Jerry, how are you doing?
Oh, not bad. And I was just...
Yeah, Jerry Hubbard. Exactly. For some of you who haven't gotten the ball rolling by sending in your gifts, for Jerry and myself, you're maybe a little intimidated by the fact that these are a little maybe more creative than you think you are. Don't worry. It's just like birthday presents. You can't go wrong with money.
But you don't know when you tell people, they ask you, do you like big checks or small checks? You don't know if they mean the amount of the check or a pattern of a shirt.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfectly clear.
Fine. My first guest is back for her 3rd appearance. Her recent success in the Tri-County area is a direct result of our Rocket to Stardom feature. We had her here for that.
Oh, isn't she terrific?
She's one of my favorites. Tonight she's back on her own without a rocket to lean on. So please give her a very, very nice welcome. She's only 5 years old. She's one of our very favorites, baby Irene.
Congratulations, another knockout performance here.
How are you, Irene?
Fine.
That's good. Well, things have been going pretty well for you lately, haven't they, honey?
Yes, and I want out to you, Bart.
Oh.
You know, you're my favorite host. You're my favorite co-host, too, Taylor.
Well, thank you very much. Isn't that wonderful? You know, we're kind of like a team.
Yeah.
Yes, well, what's that man's name that has the dummy?
Edgar Bergen?
Yes, and Charlie McCargo.
Right.
Bergen, and you remind me of Charlie.
Yes, I
Yeah.
She's only 5. You never know what kids are going to say.
Oh, she's so bright.
Are you 5, baby Irene? Or really? Boy, she doesn't look a day over about 4 and a half.
I know.
She takes great care of herself,
Sure
which is important to an entertainer, a dancer.
Absolutely. What's been happening to you since, obviously, you got some new teeth?
Yeah.
What else has been happening?
Well, I got a commercial for Phil's Fashion Funwear, and I did for the Channel 6 Telethon for the feeble.
The Telethon for the Feeble. It's a wonderful charity already. It's good. Sounds like your career is really going great guns. Little toy guns, I hope.
I'm being typecast already.
You're kidding.
Typecast is what?
Like a child, a little girl, a baby.
Oh. What else? How stupid of me. But, you know, I can empathize with you, baby Irene, which means sympathize. Empathize and sympathize. Those thighs is always confusing. But, you know, people will say to me, they'll say, Jerry, you know, you're doing very well. Maybe someday you'll replace Ed McMahon. And darn it, it burns me up so much because they never think, being this silly typecast, that I could ever fill in for Johnny Carson as a host, or on a much, much smaller scale, of course, for Barth Gimble here. But that's what happens with this typecasting.
Irene, to be honest, really, what else is there for you? What would you
I
like to
want
do?
to play more mature roles,
More
like
mature.
Ophelia. Maybe Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
You came back here to see us. Every time you come back, do you promise you'll sing and dance something for us?
Yes.
Even until you're too old? Okay. When do you think that'll be? How old do you think you'll be when you finally sing your last song? How old do you think you'll be?
11, 16.
11, 16.
That's pretty old.
And ironically enough, the date of the Magna Carta. We'll be right back after these words. See, anyone under 21, we don't pay them to be on this show. It's just policy. Okay? And lawyers don't scare me. All right, my next guest is the founder of Camp Morningside, which is a nude dude ranch.
Whoa.
That just opened last year near Farrington. Please welcome Ms. Linda Berry.
Before we start, these women today call themselves Ms., and it's confusing because I never know whether that stands for Miss or Mrs.
Yes.
Yes, well.
It does. Oh, okay. Ms. Berry, I'm sorry. What brings you to Fernwood?
Well, Barth, our camp has proved so successful and popular in Farrington that we're going to, just open all kinds of nudist camps all over the state.
Wow.
So I'm here in Fernwood to gain the public support and to, a lot of people don't know about nudism, so I'm going to tell them.
Mm-hmm. Too bad it's not show and tell. We get the bare facts. I'd like some naked truth.
Now, you see, that is the perfect example for how some people react when they hear the word nudism, just like a child.
Yep.
But there is nothing dirty about nudity.
Yep.
You see, we want to see a day when people have the right to be nude and to visit camps and not to be interfered with by the police or the rest of their community.
Well, that's good. Listen, if you don't mind my asking a kind of a Tom Snyder kind of question at the moment, if you're such a staunch nudist, what the heck aren't you in the nude for right now? I mean, what's the matter? No good?
That was good. That sounded just like him.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Well, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't mind being nude right now, but I am staying within the law until we can get that changed. But you see, what we want is for a day when people can be nude, not just in camps, but wherever and whenever they want. I would like to see you nude, and you too, Jerry. See all the cameramen nude. I'd like to see the whole audience nude.
One or two people out there I definitely do not want to see in the nude. I think no offense.
I have a confession to make. I am actually nude under my clothes. Right now. I do it every night. I just come out here stark naked under these clothes.
Oh, that's right.
It's kind of a
That's
thrill.
how God intended us.
It makes me feel a little bit more excited about being here, Get some... Ms. Berry, what about the rights of people who don't want to be nude? There are such people. They don't want to look at naked bodies that are, let's say, a little less attractive than I should imagine yours is, and I'm sure mine is.
Just where are these nude people going to hang out?
Very.
I mean, they just can't go everywhere. Are there a certain section that they'll be allotted for them? And
Yes, I think on airplanes we can have the nude and the non-nude section.
Then, of course, if they have nude smokers and non-smokers, that could get complicated.
Sure could.
Non-nudist smokers, non-smokers. Whew.
Yes,
Clothes, smoking, please, window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And also in restaurants. I think that if people want to dine in the nude, they should be allowed to.
But I think at those seafood restaurants, you're going to have a little longer lobster bib. Why not get it all over your pants? We wouldn't have pants to get
Also, I don't think I'd want to stand over by that salad bar. It gets a little icy over there. But also, it'd be good to use this nudity in the political process, because when we vote for a man, we know what kind of a man we're voting for. Also, and here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. They wouldn't be able to hide those cash kickbacks, unless they put them under their armpits and they'd have to walk around like this. Maybe that's where Richard Nixon keeps his 18 minutes of fame.
Or
Hey, mister...
they could just keep those speeches in their mouths, too. Well, Miss Berry, there must be some jobs, though, that, if you'll pardon the pun, are ill-suited to nudity. Construction workers, maybe, people who work around heavy machinery, for instance, something like that. You've got to admit that that's a potentially ugly and hazardous picture.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want to come up to an intersection and find a nude policeman. I wouldn't, couldn't be able to tell which direction he wanted me to go. You understand what I'm talking about?
That is true, but there are so many things that can be done easier in the nude.
Yeah, I can think of one right now. Just trying to lighten things up.
Understand what he's saying?
Yeah. I wish you a lot of luck with your campaign to bring nudity out of the woods, and I guess just sometimes we can't see the forest for the trees, really. I wouldn't mind being naked myself right now if it weren't for this great shirt I have here from Phil's Fashion Funwear right here in town. You did the commercial for that, didn't you, baby? That's at the corner of Oak and Jefferson, where their motto is, wear it 5 times, mention it 3, and it's yours. Thank you. We'll be right back. Can I get one? Thank you very much. We're back. We were talking about nudity before with Linda here, and I was thinking, here we are, 3 grown people here, consenting adults, talking about nudity and our rights to show our bodies. Might be interesting to find out the viewpoint of someone who doesn't really have a body yet. Certainly 3 or 4 years away from anything that's going to turn anybody on, if you know what I mean. How do you feel about it, baby Irene? Do you think people should be allowed to go around with their clothes off?
No, I don't.
Why?
'Cause that's of the devil.
That's the devil? The devil working. Okay.
Actually, I agree with you.
Really?
Oh, yes. Many philosophers throughout the years have pinpointed the devil as being the basis of a lot of the evil things that happen. Kierkegaard, Rousseau, Flip Wilson mentioned it. But,
How does that have to do with taking off your clothes?
Well, it's considered evil. It's the devil made me do it, or...
What the devil are you doing with your clothes off?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Or how'd you do on your date last night? Oh, I had a devil of a time.
Right.
Getting you.
Our next guest is an unusual and a very fascinating one. He's president of his own toy company. This ought to be fun for you, huh? Toys? They're called Reality Toys, Inc. That's the name of this company, or Incorporated, I guess. Would you please welcome Mr. George Ellsworth? Well, welcome, sir. Reality Toys. Well, that's quite a name. That's a great name.
Thank you, Barth. At Reality Toys, we've long been of the opinion that many of the toys manufactured today make it difficult for a child to grow up and face the world as it really exists. Most toys encourage children to live in a fantasy world.
So, Reality Toys tries to really introduce the child into a world that as it really exists, as opposed to the world of make-believe.
Right. For instance, one of the things a parent buys for a new baby is a mobile that attaches to the crib.
Right.
Little blue elephants, little pink
there they are.
bunnies, and
Little cat.
so circling overhead. Now, obviously, you can't throw reality at an infant all at once.
Right.
You have to do it gently. That's why we came up with this.
Oh, yeah, one really kind of realistic spider here. Very nasty-looking black one there.
Tarantula. Now, baby sees the spider, he'll perceive that maybe the world isn't all peaches and cream.
Absolutely.
I think that's silly.
Then when the baby gets older, we have this.
Looks like an ordinary garden variety teddy bear there. Retail about $15, $16, right?
Teddy bears are cuddly. You wind them up and they sing, "Rock-a-bye, baby."
Right.
However, in real life, they're not cuddly. Nor do they sing "Rock-a-bye, baby."
No, they play rough. Plenty rough.
And when you wind it up, You don't hear Rockabye Baby.
That's a teddy bear I could learn to respect.
That's a horrible toy.
Mr. Ellsworth, how do parents react to a toy that can actually scratch their child? I mean,
Most favorably. A lot of mothers tell us they just used to stick their child in a room full of toys and leave them there while they watched the soap operas or snuck a snort in the kitchen. Here's a popular reality toy. Traditionally, your dollhouse.
Dollhouse, sure.
Has been one of the worst offenders in the fantasy department. Perfect little rooms filled with sweetness and light.
Right.
Let's see. I think I see the mommy upstairs in the bedroom with the daddy doll.
No, Jerry. The daddy's down here with his head resting on the kitchen table.
Oh.
And there's his tiny little whiskey bottle.
Oh, bigger than he is. No wonder his tiny little head's on the kitchen table.
That doll upstairs with Mommy is wearing a tennis outfit.
And he's giving mommy quite a lesson there, isn't he? Yeah. And I see a little teenage doll sitting in the bathroom with a little teeny cigarette.
This dollhouse teaches children to expect problems in relationships when they become adults. Now, here's something that took a lot of perfecting.
That way, I think that we can just lighten up with that. I think it's carrying reality a little too far, don't you think?
Obviously, Bart, we're not going to manufacture anything that would seriously infect a young body.
Oh, okay.
A gun that just goes bang, bang, and nothing else is not preparing a child for the real world of guns. This shoots tiny, tranquilizing bullets.
How stylish.
Ooh.
How about if I demonstrate by
No,
shooting
no, no. That won't be necessary. I want to get into some of this other reality here. You say this is a little whiskey bottle. Let's just see if it is real. It's a great toy. We'll be right back. That's Happy Kind, the Mirth Makers, ladies and gentlemen. Aren't they terrific? Well, that's funny. I think they are. I'd like to thank my guest tonight, Linda Berry, who a lot of people probably don't recognize her with her clothes on, but that is her. And best of luck with your nudist colonies all over the state. Baby Irene, once again, you were fabulous. And you'll come back and see us again. You promise?
Yes.
Okay, and we're the same stuff. I like that. Mr. Ellsworth, wonderful talking to you. Incidentally, something you can't see maybe on this toy. First of all, these things, you might think there's a lot of wastage in the world today with the ecology going. These are made out of our own metal potato chip cans in Japan. We send them over there as potato chips, they roll them out, they paint them up, and they come back as doll houses. I think that's great. My one of those right here, can you get in tight on that? This is something, they put like large hero sandwiches under the windows. Something you might want to try. You see that? You see that? Sort of like a taco in a way if you're a West Coast person. Well,
Marty, I don't think that's quite sandwiches. It looks like some little grass with some flowers in it, maybe.
and maybe ketchup. Okay. I'd like to also thank Jerry Hubbard. That's about it for tonight. Good night, everybody. Mwah.
I want fan art. Of course, I've never set up like a post office box or anything, so the only gifts I've gotten were from people I actually knew in real life, but it's fun. Barth opens with that monologue about being a star. Barth is getting the fan art from the the local school who have crayoned a poster of him. He compares himself to the Fonz and Farrah, which were the two giant posters of that period. They're such iconic posters. I think generations of people grew up with those posters. I myself had a Fonz and Richie poster. I've mentioned that in the past. The Farrah one certainly comes to mind. And another thing that I've noticed over the last few days are the t-shirts that we're seeing in the audience. I feel like we've seen more iron-ons, which were very much a hot thing in the 1970s for our younger audience. But a few days ago, I saw a t-shirt for a chorus line, which was very, very new in 1977. And in fact, today I did see that poster, the Farrah Fawcett poster, on one of the t-shirts in the audience, and some other cool things. So I think from now on, I'm going to have to just do a better job of noting the t-shirts I see in the audience, because they're fun. We bring out baby Irene. I think this is her third visit. You know, she was all the way back in the first week of the series. I think possibly episode 2 or 3, when she was dancing with the man in the iron lung playing piano. And here she does Ballin' the Jack, which was an old ragtime era number which became pretty popular. It was about a dance step, but you know, I could see it being misconstrued. But then baby Irene joins the couch, and it's more like, oh, I've been typecast as a child. Mind you, she's 5, and just thinking about it, she'd just be a couple of years younger than me at this point, or maybe just 1 year younger than me at this point. So good for you, baby Irene. You're getting some jobs. Our next guest is Linda Berry, no relation to the similarly named cartoonist, who has a dude ranch, a nudist dude ranch. And I remember that naturalism and nudism were big topics in the 70s and 80s. I don't know if there are still nudist areas. I think there must be. My own first visit to a nudist camp was in my teens, I think the mid-80s. I remembered meeting someone who actually knew someone from my own neighborhood in East Los Angeles. It was a little bit odd, but that's cool. Really pretty completely innocuous. It wasn't like an orgy or anything. It was just a bunch of people sitting in the sun. So it was kind of boring, because I'm not into nature things. What Ms. Berry here is interested in is for the right for folks to be nude whenever they want to be. And I feel like, hey, maybe not in the kitchen. You know, that's my personal thought. I don't really have any science behind it, but I would think like, oh, how many hairnets would you need to wear in the kitchen? You know, I'm sure anywhere you need protective gear, you should wear that protective gear. I know that it's been at least 10 years since New York City has allowed women to go free the nip, topless in the city, just as men would. I haven't ever seen it in any of my visits, so, you know, it's just if someone's really in the mood, and probably more during the summer in, you know, places where it's a lot more relaxed. It's not a thing that I see people going to work in. There's a lot of opportunity for sort of flirty exchanges or maybe leering exchanges between Barth and Linda. And it's clear that baby Irene does not approve because it's of the devil. Then we bring out toy maker George Ellsworth, who has a line of reality toys. The complaint here being that toys lead children to fantasize about things. And I mean, to me, a little bit of fantasy is probably a good thing for a child to have, but I suppose this is just a take on things and more of a chance for baby Irene to interact with things that just seem horrible in a very honest way. I'm reminded of a Facebook and Instagram page called Obvious Plants, who make parody-style toys. It's not really reality toys like George Ellsworth is selling, but more like really absurd objects that seem like they could be toys because they're packaged that way, but the labeling is pretty freaky. That dollhouse is pretty amazing and really leans back to Mary Hartman with the cynicism about the American family. Barth ends the show by pointing out details on the dollhouse, like the planter box that's on the window. He calls a sandwich a hoagie, I believe, or, you know, like a taco if you're in Southern California. Baby Irene calls out what she sees. She knows what she's talking about, and she will tell it true. And that's all of the stuff I can think of to talk about in today's episode, so let us address the topic of the week. We have been recommending, and by we, I mean I have been recommending dark comedies and satires. Today I'm going to recommend Citizen Ruth. Citizen Ruth is a 1996 satire starring Laura Dern, Swoosie Kurtz, and Burt Reynolds about a troubled woman who goes through an unwanted pregnancy and all of the folks who are trying to exert their will on her. It is really a takedown of all of the different forces in women's lives, trying to control them through various means. Well, I'm not going to say more than that, but if you're looking for something that's going to make you maybe cringe a little bit, maybe think a little bit, maybe do a little bit of the laughter, then maybe check out Citizen Ruth. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions in the comments. Thank you to my top tier Patreon supporters, because I do actually want you. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.